things that came out of the 60s in mainland Europe, in Northern Europe, Germany, Denmark, Holland, etc., was a very vibrant kind of anti-nuclear scene, and also kind of countercultural squatting. That's where the tactic emerged. The logic was anonymity, and the logic was kind of strength in numbers. The people that did it became known as Autonomen in German, autonomous people. Their politics is a very eclectic mix of kind of anti-imperialism, Maoism, some anarchism. But again, it was a tactic used. It was imported to America by, I think, probably largely by anarchists who were impressed by the success of this kind of massive countercultural demonstrations and tactics that were going on in mainland Europe. I think it may have even been first used in '89 at the miserable march in Berkeley.
Oh, I think it's being done.
Anyway, so I mean, many things have become synonymous with anarchism, rightly or wrongly. You know, assassinating heads of state has become synonymous with anarchism, rightly or wrongly. So the black bloc is a tactic used by certain people. It definitely includes anarchists.
I'm sorry, but right after the Port of Oakland rally at the Occupy movement, and some windows were broken and stuff, things happened. The Black Bloc had a meeting at the holdout. 200 Black Bloc people were there, and they discussed the tactics, and they felt that the property damage was premature, that it drove a lot of people away. And
well, that's, as you said, it's a discussion of tactics.
Yeah, they admit they made a mistake. And that's all I got to say about that.
Shall we go to
Yeah, questions, sir.
Q&A? All right. First person is Elazar.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that I know what I'm talking about, but what attracted me to what I thought was anarchism was Durruti had to flee Europe because of some bank robberies for the movement. And he went to Argentina, I believe, and he was working on an estate. And the workers went on strike. And the landlord said, oh, just come tomorrow and we'll settle the whole thing. And they came and they were greeted by the army who shot and killed them all. Durruti turned to his partner and says, this oppressor has to be dealt with. And they killed him and they fled back to Europe. I thought that was pretty good. And then Jack London's Assassination Bureau Limited, I thought was a brilliant, that and the Iron Heel were brilliant previsions of opposing the totalist state. So here's my, now that's the good stuff. The problems that I have with anarchism, and I have to put my cards on the table. I'm I believe in a vanguard party. I'm basically, I try to be a Leninist. I doubt that I'm more than eclectic, but that's my goal. So one of my problems with anarchism is they do not differentiate between a worker state and a capitalist state. They're all bad, and so they don't take a position between the two of them. Though there have been anarcho-communists, like you mentioned, Victor Serge and Kanaan, who did take positions and did align themselves with the Bolsheviks until Stalinization. And then my question is, how do you defend a new society? Let's say you have France has an anarchist revolution, gets rid of the state, and now the imperialists want to penetrate. How do you stop it? Without having a combat state, a combat party, the concept, Lenin's concept of democratic centralism. How do you stop that? Number three, how to prevent the secret police from wrecking a movement. In Russia, they had enormous anarchist movements, and they were wrecked overnight, many, many times by Okhrana. Some of them didn't last more than 2 months. So one of Lenin's ideas was how to deal with that. But now even the Bolsheviks are wrecked many times.
You never wrecked any anarchist organization?
Can I just finish talking without being right? I mean, if you got better ideas, it's fine. And then how to prevent the old ruling class who has international connections and become very vindictive and spiteful after they're overthrown from restoring their power. And then I personally felt like Black Bloc when he mentioned that. So I'm in the Oscar Grant Committee, and we wrote a paper condemning vandalism that I said, no, you can't just do that. when the capitalist state represses the vandals who thought they were doing revolutionary actions, you have to come to their defense and form defense committees with them. So that's another discipline like Narodnya Volya. They would get rid of some of those heinous police inspectors. When they were caught, the Bolsheviks formed united defense committees with them.
So I think we need to get to.
I'm through. Did you set a time limit, or you just feel like fluttering on?
Just have the speakers respond to you.
Could we take 2 or 3 questions?
No, I don't think you need to react to each person.
Okay.
Take a few questions.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of have a way we do this, and it's worked pretty good. I mean, you can all have a revolution within this forum if you want, but I think it would be counterproductive.
Actually, we were thinking it might be better to take a few things.
Sure.
Because we could end up getting into a 2-hour discussion about how the Leninists killed the anarchists in Russia and wiped out Moscow and stuff. But, so, if we could get several, then we could pick and
Okay.
choose.
Then we can pick and choose what we want to do, right?
He's got a stack. He's got a stack.
Yeah, raise your hand if you want to talk.
Raise your hand.
He's got a stack there.
Okay, hold on.
I'm not subject